Hey guys, today we're taking a look at my reactor deck. This deck was requested by FL Racing 84, and the idea behind the deck is just doing like burn damage, punishing your opponent for doing things, and then bringing out, a powerful boss monster that really limits what your opponent can do. So the way I approach this deck is supporting the reactors, but also giving them a bunch of other options so it's not sort of just focused on them, because they can run into a lot of issues on their own because of their very low stats. So first off, we have Summon Reactor SK. So a single tribute 2000 attack, obviously a bit annoying to get out, but you do have ways to deal with it. And you can really annoy your opponent when they summon monsters. He's also the key to getting out their boss monster. And then Spell Reactor and Trap Reactor, basically just punishing your opponent for activating spells and traps. The big thing is that it destroys the spell and traps, but it doesn't negate them. So if they just activate them, they'll still be able to use them. They're very good on continuous spells and traps if your opponent focuses on those, so that can be very, very nice. And obviously it just adds to the burn damage, and getting these cards out is important to get the boss out. And then we have two Black Salvo. Very good in this deck. You can summon out Trap Reactor and go into synchros that will help you do what you need to do. Definitely very nice that you have ways to bring out monsters. And the synchros will help you do some of the other stuff you're trying to do in this deck. And then we have two of the Flying Fortress Skyfire. So needs to be summoned with Summon Reactor SK's effect. So hard to get out, but very, very nice effect that he can do a 1-for-1 and just destroy cards on the field, and then also punish your opponent for doing things. So very, very powerful card if you can get him out. And 3000 attack, not bad at all. We're also being supported by the Machinas, giving us some searching, giving us access to some powerful monsters. Definitely like to have these guys in here to support a machine deck that isn't that strong on its own. And then we have two Mystic Tomato. Obviously can search out some of the reactors, can also search out Black Salvo. Obviously Black Salvo won't activate its effect, but still nice to have that tuner out if you want to do certain plays. So I definitely like Mystic Tomato, helping us keep the reactors out as well, which is very important. And then two Cyber Dragon, level 5 special summon, very nice for us to get out our 8-star synchros, or to do other plays, to like do 5-star XYZs and similar things. Definitely like having a Cyber Dragon in this deck type. And then one Dark Arm Dragon, predominantly dark in this deck. We do have some mix, but mostly dark, so definitely like having Dark Arm Dragon, especially with our synchroing and sending things to the graveyard. And then one Genex Alley Birdman, dark tuner machine, just fits perfectly in the deck, allowing you to do additional plays very nicely. If this card wasn't limited, I would run a lot of this card in this deck because of how good it can be. And now for the spells, two Pot of Duality, helping us with a little more consistency and draw power. Two MST, one Foolish Burial. We do have some graveyard stuff going on, especially with the extra deck that I'll talk about, so that can be very nice. And one Allure of Darkness, obviously again predominantly dark, so nice to have some draw power. And then one Limiter Removal, obviously in a machine deck, and one Dark Hole. For the traps, we have two Fake Explosion, another reactor card that's really, really good, allowing you to special summon Reactor SK, which is very, very important. So I was thinking about running this at 3 because of how good it can be, but I just decided to put it at 2 with the other support I wanted to put in this deck. But very, very good card for a reactor deck. And then two Fiendish Chain, 2-dimensional prison, one Mirror Force, and staple traps. Running a lot of back row to protect our monsters. Again, very important if we can keep those reactor cards out as long as possible. So now for the extra deck, going to have a couple 6-star synchros, Iron Chain, HTS, a couple 7-stars, Karakuri, very nice with our kind of machine build, and Lightning Warrior. He's nice because he can do burn damage, which kind of works with the reactors, so that could be very, very nice. And then Black Rose Dragon, obviously, if you can get out 7 stars easily. For the 8 stars, Dark Flat Top, really, really good for reactors. Obviously, it's a reactor card, allowing you to bring out reactors or Skyfire. Really, really nice if you can keep bringing out Skyfire with this card. Thought about running more than one of this, but I wanted to have more variety in my extra deck. Still very, very good. Obviously, the problem is if he gets put into attack mode, but even if he does get destroyed, you can still special summon a reactor. So very, very nice. And then one Scrap Dragon, one Crimson Blader, and one Beelze, because we do have dark tuners in the deck. So very, very nice. We have a good selection of our 8-star synchros. For the XYZ, one Zenmaines with our 3 stars. For the 4 stars, we don't have a lot of room, so I wanted to put in the 2 that I thought would be most useful. So Gear Gigant with our machines, and Exciton Knight, always very useful. We do have a little bit of ability to get out 5 stars, so Zenmaioh and Volcasaurus. Obviously there's other good ones, but those are the 2 I'm using. And with Cyber Dragon, we have Chimeratech in case, to bring out that monster can be very useful. So now for the side deck. Side decks in my videos are kind of just recommended cards that can also work with the main deck. This isn't meant to be side decks for matches. These are just cards I want you to think about if you're building your own reactor deck that could be really useful. So Unknown Synchro, another interesting card you can use to do some synchro plays. You can mix this deck with Karakuris and have more Karakuri synchros and do more swarming and special summoning, so that's up to you. Solar Windjammer, another great special summon 5-star card. Armageddon Knight, if you want to focus more on the graveyard, sending things to the graveyard, another really nice card you can use. The Dark Creator, again, if you're focusing more on the graveyard, could be a really nice card for this deck. Not too hard to bring this card out with all these dark monsters that we have. If you're going to run like Instant Fusion over here, you can run, Cybersaurus and do more 5-star plays and do more machine and synchro plays. That can be really good. Dark Strike Fighter would be really, really good for this deck, but it is currently banned. So if it ever goes off the list, this card will be really nice for this deck. Definitely would recommend it if it ever goes off the list. If you want to run more 7-stars or go with the 7-stars we are using, you can run 7-star XYZs like Dracosac. If you're running full machines, definitely run Solidarity. It'll give the reactors a much bigger attack boost to keep them on the field. Trade in if you're running more 8-stars. The high level reactor is 8-stars, and putting them in the graveyard is obviously really good for our deck, so definitely could be a good choice. Overload Fusion, another thing you can do to get out like Chimeratech Overdragon. Definitely a good choice if you're getting a lot of things to the graveyard. Double Summon, I was really close to putting this in the deck, just because it can be very nice if we can get those reactors out at once, and it's hard to protect them otherwise. Iron Call, another interesting card to get out those reactors, so it's up to you, and you could do other XYZ plays with that. And Threatening Roar, other cards that can stall for you, things that keep your reactors from being destroyed could be really useful. There's other cards you can run. If you want to mix more light, you can run Chaos cards. We are running a lot of Dark and Cyber Dragon, so that's up to you. Bunch of other choices in the deck. So that's my reactor deck. Definitely very fun to play, but can have some issues. That's why we're getting supported by a lot of other cards. On its own, it's tough to keep those reactors out and do the plays you want to do. But with some of the kind of backup strats you have with Fake Explosion and the Synchro monsters, it does allow the deck to do a lot of additional plays, which is why it could be very fun. But if you guys have your own reactor decks, you could post below. Let me know in the comments. You could talk about what cards you use and make suggestions for me. That would be really cool, so let me know. But as always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later.